Get Warrior Tough. Mental Training 101 with Andrew Wittman on 105.5 The Roar. Back to Andrew Wittman.
All right. Back in the saddle with the Dutch Coleman. This is the final segment of today's show. Man, I'm having fun, Dutch. I don't know about you, buddy, but I'm having fun.
I am too. Let's get it.
All right. So, listen, before we jump back into the conversation, man, I just want to let our business folks know out there, man, if you don't know where your business is going or what your ultimate target or destination is, man, it's time to stop messing around and get some clarity about your ultimate destination and your vision. What are your sales goals, your revenue goals, your earning goals? Yeah, you know what? Those are a complete waste of your time and energy if you don't know what your final destination is or where you want to go. It's like being a hamster on a wheel. You might get the wheel spinning more times per hour, but you're not going anywhere. And when you step off the wheel, you're at the same place you were when you were started. Man, if you don't know exactly where you are and, more importantly, where your people are taking your company, man, it's like spinning the wheel. So give us a call at the office at 864-977-1443. That's a new office number. You can get it off the website. Let's get you guys off that hamster wheel and get your company moving towards peak performance. All right, Dutch, we were talking about these cuts and what was going on, and I was looking at these guys, and it was breaking my heart, and I thought, the hardest thing was watching that coach. Now, wasn't that guy the coach of the Texans was at Penn State for a while, wasn't he?
He was at Penn State the last few years before he got to the Texans,
right.
So yes.
So, and I'm like, I've been in that spot where you have to give the hard news to somebody, but he was just, man, it was tearing him up too, and man, it was, it's not fun for anybody, but listen, the cut is the cut. It is what it is. And in mental toughness, man, it's objective reality. Let's not be delusional. It's like watching the old American Idol where, Simon Cowell would be like, who told you could sing? What are you even doing here, man? Kind of deal.
And it's real life, man. Again, that's with those guys, knowing some of them and knowing their struggle and what they're dealing with. But again, I can't sympathize with them any more than I do with regular people who are going through, who are being released from jobs. Companies are moving overseas. Companies are failing. And it's not the fault of the employees. It may be some rogue leadership that caused it to fail, and the employees have to deal with those things. So there's enough sadness going around this country that it doesn't have to be about professional athlete. The unfortunate thing is that theirs is being broadcasted nationally.
Right, and that
makes it worse.
Right, it does make it worse. But here's the thing that I like, and this is what I constantly say this about sports and especially about football, it's controlled combat. And what I like about sports with mental toughness is it gives us a controlled environment where there's performance and there's pressure dialed up, and it gives us an opportunity to work on and practice these mental toughness skills, these critical thinking skills, emotional intelligence, being in control of ourselves, separating out logic from emotion. It gives us a kind of a safe place, controlled combat, so that when real life does happen, you've already worked these things out. And that's why it's great when we work with golfers or even high school and college athletes, because these are life skills, and that's what the sports arena gives us, dials us up some, I want to say, artificial pressure, because that's what it is. There's really no consequence, in terms of controlled combat. It's a safe place. Yes, there's some injuries that happen, but we make it as safe as possible so that you could practice these skills and so we could take it over into real life. And yeah, we're seeing it at the highest level with the professionals, but these things happen even if you don't get, you get cut from your high school team, man, or you get cut from, you're playing JV or, the D team or whatever. And I know, though, when you can, here's my, this is why I was kind of making fun of Tebow a little bit, because he had never lost anything in his life. The Heisman winner as a youngster and the championships and blah, blah, blah. Then he loses that game to Alabama, Roll Tide. Then he's crying because he never got punched in the face before. He never had a deal. And in psychology, we call it desirable difficulties. And what happens is you get better from going through the hard thing. That, if you want to be more pure, right, like gold, right, you have to go through the fire and get tried. And so that's what these things are. And if you look at it like that, it doesn't wipe you out. It makes you stronger.
Now, and again, the mental toughness isn't about not crying,
right?
Because that's something physical, emotionally, all those things hitting you at one time. Yep. Sometimes shame on you if you're not crying.
Right. Now I agree with that, man. I'm a big baby. People know, man. I cry at like Disney movies and junk, man.
But mental toughness is more about, in my opinion, is more about how long you cry, how long the crying lasts, and what do you do immediately after the crying. That's where mental toughness comes in.
All right, tell me about that, man. Tell me your take on that. What should we be doing immediately after, all right, the emotion ran its course and it vented. We got off the roller coaster and it worked its way out of our system physically and whatever. Now what?
Ideally, as I said before, you open up that drawer. Now, the drawer can be in your mind. The drawer can be wherever. And you can have a physical drawer with your plans in it. You open up that desk drawer and you pull the plan out. And you begin to take that first step. And you have a first step on your plan. You have those things. Call so-and-so. Do this. Do that. This has already been set up because I already have prior relationships. While I was playing football, I had relationships with sponsors and I'm doing commercials and things. We've already discussed the transition of what I'm going to do after. So my first step is to call Jim.
Wow. So you actually have a plan. See, this is you had a plan and it's written down and here's step 1, step 2. So it's almost when you have this, like, I'll call it the 911 card, right? There's like a triage matrix. Here's what number 1, number 2. That's what we do in mental toughness. So we get you to write this stuff down and we help you do it because it's really hard to do that, isn't it, Dutch? I mean, it's the hardest work you can do is actually putting something on paper. It is so difficult to get people to write their plan or their vision. It's just, man, it's like pulling teeth, man.
Well, you know why it's difficult is because it's difficult thinking about the end. If the end isn't in front of me, then why am I thinking about it? I don't want to think about when all this is over. I don't want to think about that. I'm playing. I'm having a great time. This isn't about that. And what you got to tell people is what's worse than thinking about the end is existing in the end without having thought about it.
Right.
That's even worse. And that's where you do not want to be. That's way worse than the end of something. So again, even mental toughness can save you even if you hadn't come up with a plan, but you need a plan and you've already thought about those things. So you may not have a whole written down plan in a drawer, but you're crying for your designated period of time and you're saying, okay, let's get it together. I already know who I am. I already know what I like to do. I already know what my strengths and weaknesses are. So let me call so-and-so. I hadn't written it down, but in my mind, I already know the process.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. Listen, I had a buddy call me, and it was just about 6 months ago. He was, on a Fortune 20 CEO doing executive protection, and that came to an end, that contract. And so we were talking, and I said, well, what is it that you want to do, man? Because this is an opportunity for you to do anything that you want. What is it that you want to do? And he proceeded to tell me what he didn't want. I don't want to go back overseas. I don't want to go to Afghanistan. I don't want to go to Iraq. I don't want to get into that game again. So what are you up for? He said, well, I'm up for anything. I said, well, then what are you going to get? You're going to get anything. And so a lot of the time people, and here again, thinking like crap, clarity, relevance, accuracy, and precision. Clarity, the first thing is, what's the target? Tell me what you do want, not what you don't want. And a lot of people, they just say what they don't want. And we've been trained like that. Listen, when we were kids, our mom used to say, right, look both ways across the street, so what?
So you won't get hit.
You don't get hit. Is that the target? Poop, poop. Sorry, Johnny. Right? So, what is it that we do want? I think that's kind of what if you think like that, and you start to think, what is it that I do want? And you're constantly thinking of what's my next target? What's the next target? So this is in the warrior culture. We have a 5-meter target. That's the bad guys in really close. And there's a 10-meter target, a 100-meter target. There's a 1,000-meter target. And so I triage those targets and based on order of, who's the bigger threat and who's here faster. Now, when it translates into real life is, here's my target right now. I'm playing until whatever. You have a short, playing professional sports is very short-lived. I mean, it's not going to be a long period. I mean, in 20 years even is not a long period. You and I are old enough now to say we've been doing something for 20 years. Did it go by fast or what?
Absolutely. Now, can I give out a pass? I want to give out a pass.
All right, give a pass, man.
If you're in the midst of doing what you're doing, you're currently successful, everything's going well, I'll give you a pass and let you get a list of what you don't want. Because you have plenty, because theoretically you have some time. And you can target what you want by getting rid of what you don't want. Because you have time, but you can't do what Andrew just said. You can't be at the end telling people what you don't want.
All right, see, you're nicer than me, man. You give them a pass. I don't give any. I'll be like, no, man, I need to know what you want. Tell me what you do want. But all right, you're nicer than me, Dutch.
Because in the midst of it, you still have some time.
You do have time. You're right. You're right.
I can't call up Andrew the day it happened. The day it happened, everything's over, and then you say, what do you want? And I go, I can tell you what I don't want. No, it's too late for that, buddy.
Yeah, no, you're right, man. And it's just, and honestly, I mean, let's just be frank about this whole thing. That's when people call me for coaching is not the day it happened. It's like the day after. When they're done crying, that's like, oh, I need to call Andrew. That ain't the time to be I mean, if you haven't, definitely get on board with Mental Toughness 101 and get into the phalanx. But know that there is going to be a serious lag time now because you waited till this thing already happened, and now it's beyond. Now, get on it on the front end right? And then you don't have to be in that panic.
Now, the good news is if you are in that panic, you're dealing with people who have worked with people in that panic. So the process is going to be better. So you don't want to deal with that panic alone.
No.
So if you are in that panic right now and you want to go through mental toughness, there's still hope. You have two people who have dealt with these things before. So you're having somebody to help you go through this panic. But what we're warning you about is that panic out there alone. So there's a couple things. There's avoiding the panic. There's being prepared. And then there's dealing with the panic. So we're here in both cases, but we rather you get ahead of it so that you won't be dealing with the panic alone one day.
That's so key, is about being alone, man. Because people, when they get alone, wow, you start, and I got to say it like this, man. When you panic, half your brain shuts down. They know that physically the creative problem-solving half of your brain shuts down. What Dutch and I will do is make sure that we turn that half back on, because you know the right answer. You are a genius. You know exactly what to do. We just got to get you to trust that you know what to do. And we'll turn that other half. But when you act in panic or worry or anxiety, through MRI brain scans, they know that the creative problem-solving half of your brain just shuts completely off. It's fight or flight, or freeze. You're in survival mode or weapons, and there's no creative problem-solving. And Dutch and I will help you turn that part of your brain back on. Dutch, man, this hour is gone, dude. Do you believe that?
Yeah, hey man, time flies when you're having fun.
And I've been having fun, man. I got to tell you, I am so excited about that. We have teamed up. Wonder Twin Powers activate, right? Even though I know that was Donnie and Marie Osmond, and we're much cooler than that. But right, we're not wearing purple suits. But you have your purple on a little bit, but it's not a whole. Anyway, I'm so excited that we're together. But yeah, right, it's so nice. I'm so excited to be working with you, and this is going to be magical, and I just can't wait for the folks to start getting into the phalanx with us, because it's just going to be fun.
Amen. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, buddy. So I'll see you next week.
Yes, sir.
All right. Let's go watch some football, baby. Woo! Go, Tom, go.